Hey, my name is Scott. I am a tech recruitment agency owner based in the UK, and in the past 5 or 6 years of having my own business, I've gone from 0 to doing over $1 million in sales. Now, there is some things I wish I knew before I started my own business journey. So if you are looking to start your own business and you don't know where to get started, then this video is for you. Now, when you set up a company, you need to choose the company formation and the way you're going to operate. Now, if you're in the UK, you could be a limited company or a sole trader. The main difference of this being, if you're a limited company, any liabilities or any issues or anything that goes wrong or financially or legally is all tied into that company and you're not liable personally. If you operate as a sole trader, however, you can be liable personally and your personal assets can be on the line if things go wrong. So you can imagine a lot of people go for limited companies as this is a more safe and protected option. The other thing that you might want to think about when setting up your company is a registered address. Now, there's nothing wrong with having your home address as your registered address on the company's house website, but for privacy, you might want to think about having a registered office. Now, this registered address could be a virtual office at a serviced office place, or potentially you could choose to use your accountant's address, which some people do. Now, this obviously depends if your accountant offers this as a service. Now, this is a fairly common practice and a lot of people have their registered address as a different place compared to their operating location. Now, next we're going to want to think about business insurance. This could be public indemnity or public liability. This could be anything to do with loss of income. Now, there is so much that you need to think about here, but the main thing is you want to make sure that you are protected against any situation that could arise. If you are dealing with expensive materials or you are on a site, let's say, or dealing with a company that has expensive goods or materials, or someone wants to take legal proceedings with you, then it could be in a situation where you're going to spend a lot of money. But by making sure that you take out the right insurance policies, you should be protected and can sleep easy at night knowing that you are protected. Now, when it comes to finances, you want to make sure that you have a good accountant. In my time of having my own business in the past 5 or 6 years, I've had my fair share of bad accountants, which has cost me lots of money, lots of late fees, penalties, and things like that. Now, if you're not an accountant yourself, then you definitely need to get an accountant because it's quite easy to fall into the trap of potentially thinking I could do this stuff myself. However, if you're not an expert, you can make a lot of mistakes. So me personally, when you're looking for an accountant, you probably want to not just focus on price. I mean, obviously that's a big factor, but you want to get someone that you can work with, someone that you feel you get on with, and someone that can answer your questions when you ask them, no matter how difficult or how easy they are. Having the right accountant that can guide you and advise you on simple matters is worth everything, trust me. One of the simple things that you can look for in an accountant, or you can quiz or ask when you're, I guess, looking for different accountants, is see how quickly they come back to you on things. Because if you call someone or email them and it takes them like 4 days to come back to you, then that is not a good sign. Along with finance, you're going to need some kind of finance system or finance software. So you could use Xero, QuickBooks, Sage. But personally, I'm a big fan of Xero, and that's what I've used for the past 6 years. And I think it is just one of the most easiest finance systems to use, in my opinion. So if you're like me and you just want something nice and simple and easy to use, then I'd definitely go for Xero. Now, there's going to be 3 or 4 main things that you need your accountant to do for you. And that's going to be your VAT return, if you're VAT registered, your company returns, your personal returns, and then payroll. This is depending on how you pay yourself and if you have any staff that's working for you. Again, you don't want to make any mistakes in this area because if you do, there can be some hefty penalties. One of the worst things you could do is get your tax return wrong, and then you don't pay it on time or you don't pay the right amount, and then suddenly you've got the Inland Revenue, HMRC, coming after you for money which you haven't budgeted or set aside, and then suddenly you're gonna be quite stressed and worrying about how you're gonna sort this situation out. Fortunately, I haven't been quite in that situation before, but I know other people have had businesses, and when these inspections or issues come up, it is quite a stressful situation. One of the other things that you need to get sorted when you start a business is making sure that you have a bank account. So you want to make sure that you have a dedicated business account. Now, some of these can have banking fees, so it is worth shopping around and making sure that you get an account that's right for you. But also, probably you're going to want a branch where it is easy to walk into if you have any issues, because nowadays it can be quite difficult to get any kind of response over a phone or live chat with any kind of bank. Now, that's some of the boring finance stuff out the way. So the more interesting stuff would be about how we are going to get paid and send out invoices. Now on Xero, you can easily set up some invoice templates, which is great. So you don't really have to even think about anything apart from putting in the numbers and press send to whoever your client is. But if you're not sending out invoices, then you're probably going to need a card machine. So you want either, I think it's Square or Stripe. But nowadays it's pretty easy to get some kind of little third-party device that links to your phone and you can take card payments pretty easily. But this is stuff that you want to make sure you've got set up before you even start trading on day one. Now, one of the other thing that kind of ties into the finances is making sure that you keep all your receipts and your expenses, because you want to make sure that you can claim this against the tax and the profit that you'll make to make sure that you can save some of that tax against those expenses. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that you keep a track of your mileage if you're doing some driving for business in your personal car, because if you're doing lots of business trips or client meetings or traveling to see clients, then you're going to want to make sure that you keep a record of the mileage that you're doing, because you can claim a tax relief of 45p a mile for the first 10,000 miles that you're doing that are business related. Now, this is correct at the time of filming, however, things can obviously change. So it's worth keeping up to date on this. If you've liked today's video, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you soon in the next one.